a lot of different things going on that are critical for us to take some time to understand and make your voice known through a vote, because your voice is probably one of the most important things that we have. I always like to ask this question, Mark. I'm going to ask this question to you and everybody that's out there. What office is the most important office in our government?
That's a great question. What office? Now, you're not talking about branches of government, are you?
You can answer any way you want. We'll go from there.
Well, how about judicial?
Well, I think that's pretty important, but I think the most important office that we have in this country, a lot of people say the presidency, that's the leadership and the direction. Some people say it's our Congress and some would say the courts, like you said. The most important office in this country is the citizen. This Constitution is the citizen. Our sovereignty. We're a sovereign country. It's our voice. It's our freedom of speech through vote is the most powerful tool that we have, and to use in a peaceful way to reconcile.
You got me when you said office. You got me when you said office. So.
Yeah. And I would consider
that's true.
A sovereign citizen is an office, and that's the highest position you can have. And we've got a responsibility as citizens in this thing called our democratic republic. A lot of people talk about our democracy's at jeopardy. No, it's not. Our republic is at jeopardy. Our Constitution is at jeopardy. And I take a course. I go to every 2 weeks to a program on the Constitution. They bring in scholars and we watch videos and that type of stuff to get a better understanding how this government was formed. The history is not being taught anymore. It's a tragedy. Most people don't understand how this Constitution was put together, what previous minds came together to put the concept together to make this the greatest country that's ever dominated this earth. And it's pretty important. So we've had the former Supreme Court Justice of Wisconsin come in and teach and talk and get to know him and get to see it from a judge's position about the Constitution and what their responsibilities are. So it's pretty powerful, and we're taking a lot of things for granted, and it's unfortunate. So I'm so grateful that we have the opportunity today to even talk about this. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about the importance of voting. I know we've got a Canadian out here. They got a whole different set of issues.
Tell us what it's like there, Eric. Bam, peach. That looks like a peach-us. Yeah, right. I'm checking that out. Eric replied.
There he goes. He's got you peached out, man.
I know. We're peached up. Yeah.
I wonder if it's like saying it was pinch us.
I know. You know what?
Hey, Eric, how you doing, bud?
I want pizza since Eric's on.
Yeah. We got to get him on here.
Yeah.
Seriously. He just wrote a book. I'd like to find out more about his book and plant his wisdom out there.
Yes, I like that. I'm voting. Oh, Tom's got that call.
No, I didn't recognize it's probably asking me who am I going to vote for tomorrow.
Yeah.
I already voted. I voted earlier.
Hey,
so.
While we're on that subject, I finally figured out how to stop getting all these advertisements from either party. And I love that I'm voting for Pizza Party. And it's stop to end. But I wish I would have known that early in the game. Stop, the number 2, end. And all those little bequeathing and groveling for dollars and cents stopped. I mean, because it was, man, my phone was lighting up like a Christmas tree here.
Yeah.
And so one day, this has got to stop now. This is crazy. So I kind of went through and I just figured, hey, why don't I just say stop to end? And you know what? It started working. So every time I'd get one, stop to end, but I'm digressing a little bit.
I'm going to pose another question when you get done there, Mark. So
I'm done. Go ahead. Go for it.
These are questions that get posed to me on these Tuesday night or Wednesday night courses I go to on the Constitution. So, what do you think your two greatest constitutional rights are? You personally, Mark. What are your two most important?
Well, I'm probably wrong, but I'm really big about First Amendment. I think that is one of the more important. Now you're making me think here. You're talking about we as citizens. What's the two most important? Well, I think another one. Well, I don't know if it'd be considered a constitutional right, but what you're going to do tomorrow is important.
That's freedom and different liberties that you can exercise.
Right. I don't know. You got me, because tell me.
I didn't get you. You're right on. Something that I never even thought of as a constitutional right is personal property, the right to have personal property. And what's the number one personal property that's under attack today?
You're talking about
it controls everything. It controls how you live. It controls what you do in business.
Well, your dollars and cents out there in America.
Your income.
Right.
Your income is your number one personal property right to maintain. And so who you vote for is going to dictate the control of your personal property, your income. What do you do with it? How much is left over? Because if nothing's left over after taxations or rules and regulations, you have no personal property rights. They're gone. It takes money to have personal property. So the number one personal property that we have, it's under attack. And I like what Trump said the other day in a comment in one of his talks, is maybe the income tax, the 14th Amendment, should be abolished and go with a different tax system, like a flat tax. Because our freedom of speech is under attack. We can just sort of look what's happening in the social media arena, what's happening in the political stuff.
Right.
If you believe a certain way, great. I'm not here to agree with you, but I want to have the freedom to be able to hear and listen, have dialogue about it without being criticized, demeaned, telling you something you're not, such as a Nazi or whatever. That's part of freedom of speech, but it's how you exercise it. Right. And I think understanding those principles is so critical. Freedom of speech is number one. Number two is personal property rights, and that's your income. And what's happening to it today.
Okay, those are the two.
That's from different things I've pulled out of some of these classes.
That makes sense.
Those are the two most important elements that we have in our Constitution.
Tom, you mentioned about income tax. There's an organization out there known as the IRS. This is no slant against the IRS, please, but I find it most amusing. If any of you ever had to owe taxes, or maybe even be placed on a payment plan, it amazes me. You have the state income tax, and as Tom knows, federal. Okay, so isn't it interesting how the state can all of a sudden, even if you're on a payment program, like in this state, Georgia, they can tell you that if you don't pay off your amount due by the end of the year, whatever money you owe, if you're given a refund from the federal side of the things, which is still your money, it's not like they're giving it to you, you've earned it. They can decide, we'll take that money and pay off the balance due that you owe us. I find that most amusing, and this is no indictment towards our state, but who comes up with these variances on that's why it gets the name sometimes Infernal Revenue Service. But it's interesting. Here's a guy like you or me making payments you know, and you're making payment. And then all of a sudden they say, oh, we're going to flip the script, change it a little bit. And yeah, we know you've been doing this, but, we want our money now. And if you get a refund, which tells me I'm probably going to get a refund from the federal side, we're going to take that money and yeah, we'll call it even. That's kind of, huh?
And if somebody came on, thumbs up, Fred Brown. I wonder, is that Mr. Fred Brown from De Anza High School, my football coach? Respond to that, Fred. Who are you? Please let us know who you are. That's the only Fred Brown I know personally.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah,
oh, cool. But anyway, I just thought I'd share that, and it's pretty interesting. And and you mentioned something really pretty.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Siri jumped in on that. Man, I'm being listened to.
Yeah, we are. Most certainly. They know where we are, what we're doing, when we're doing it, and who we're doing it with almost.
Right. But
So don't take it into the bedroom, okay?
Yeah. They're coming out of the woodwork, man. But, all I was going to say is it's funny how things change. And right now we're in this election mode and people are going to the polls and they're pushing for this candidate or that candidate. My big thing about all this is, will we hear from certain people 2 years from now, 3 years from now? Or do we have to wait when they're running again? And, I don't know what your thoughts are. I'm not saying every politician is that way, but, some of them seem to forget how they get where they are in the political arena and who put them there. And they kind of forget about some of the promises that they made. Why anybody would want to be a politician is beyond me, but I'm so thankful there are people out there that want to do it.
I look at the principles of the Constitution. Are the principles in alignment with the Constitution? If so, that's a good starting point for conversation. I think it's the foundation of everything that we got going on. And I'm not into this character assassination things. What are your principles? What's your track record? What's your solution to a problem? And how are you going to solve those problems? Because there's a solution to everything. And how open are you to look at from all angles? And I think that's what the Democratic Party used to be. It was more inclusive. Today, that they're not inclusive. If you don't believe exactly the way they do, they're going to chastise you. Versus what the coalition of the new Republican Party has been doing with Trump, is bringing more people in, more ideas, more openness to solve problems. Look at what Elon Musk is going to be doing. Look at what Bobby Kennedy is going to be doing, part of the administration. Get America healthy again. Somebody from the other side has come into this camp. And I think that's a good sign of what's happening in our country with the Republican Party. That's my opinion. That's what I see. And we've gotten off base in this country over the last 15 to 20 years to where we're at today. And
that's true.
This is an important, today is, I've already voted. Took advantage of the early voting here in Wisconsin. So I voted 2.5 weeks ago, exercised my right under the situation that we have here. I've always voted on election day. I sort of like that thing, going there, standing in line, checking in, doing all that type of stuff, going to the booth with lines of people. And I've only missed one general election in my entire life. One. And that's when I was in the Army. I didn't get a absentee ballot while I was in the Army, and it slipped past me. So, but every other major national election, I have never missed one. Every presidential election, every critical national election, I've casted my vote. And some of my votes didn't go the outcomes didn't go the way I was hoping, but that's here nor there. I just keep pressing forward and make my judgments based on principles around the Constitution.
Right.
And is it going to make everybody's life better? You can't make 100% people's lives better, but is the biggest majority of people's lives going to be better off with the leadership that we select on our democratic republic. And so I'm encourage everybody out there, you haven't voted, get out tomorrow. No matter who you vote for, get out and take advantage. Because if you bitch and complain and you don't vote, you don't have no, in my opinion, don't have a right to say anything. Your vote gives you that right. You're exercising your sovereignty, your right to speak up as a citizen. Now, you're not speaking out like we are right now, but your vote has that much power.
Right. Absolutely. And
So
you
get
know
out and vote if you haven't already voted, regardless of what side you're going to vote for.
and
I
I'll
believe you're going to make the right decisions when you really evaluate side A and side B. What have they done in the last 4 years? Are you better off today than you were 4 years ago? What would you say, Mark?
let's see, 4 years ago today. Well, I'll put it to you this way. Yeah, we need some change.
Yeah.
Because I'm still paying since I'm on that payment plan way back in the day when a certain person was in office, and they offered their Affordable Health Care Act and all this and that, and some of us didn't partake of it, but little did we know that we got backdoored with Mr. Income Tax saying, hey, guess what? You owe us this money. That was kind of weird, but that actually happened.
No.
I'm not lying. That happened to me. So it's kind of
I've
weird.
only been audited once in my lifetime, and that's not a fun thing to do. So, so I make sure I got myself circled with good, competent investment advisor, tax people, that type of thing.
Sure.
I maximize my legal rights no matter what I'm doing, to elevate myself personally in the system.
Right.
And I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a capitalist, and I believe that's the best system that's the world's ever known. This Constitution, our republic that we have, is giving people more freedoms than ever any place on earth. Open up doors financially that could never have been opened up in other countries, just because the freedoms and liberties we have, and how we're allowed to communicate, how we're allowed to have our money, our personal property rights protected. I guarantee you, if you take one of the principles, the opponent of Donald Trump, of unrealized capital gains, you know what that'll do to the U.S. economy? Mark, they're going to assess, what'd you buy your home for? What's it worth today? Write us a check for $100,000. Can you do that, Mark? Because that's an unrealized gain. You haven't sold your house. That's what's going to happen with the unrealized capital gains. You make an investment, they're going to come back and say it's worth it. You has a market value. That gain that you have, your profit, they're going to tax you and ask you for a check for that. Are you prepared to be able to do that, Mark?
That's not right. That's not right. You can't.
No,
do
it's
that.
not.
But why
Now,
would
if I
they
sell my house and I've got the gain in my bank account and I have a tax due? Yeah, I'm going to pay for it. But an unrealized capital gain, I think that will destroy American business. It'll destroy Mark Gassert and his livelihood, because they'll take a look at all your investments. You bought a stock for 10, now it's worth 100. You got a $90 gain. We want 20 or 30% of that investment. Can you afford to write those checks for that unrealized capital gain? You've never realized the gain. It's just on paper. And that's probably the most regressive taxation that anybody could ever have. And I think that's on the docket of our candidate, Harris, the unrealized capital gains. So then our personal income tax, we need to keep the current income tax levels carried through. They expire in 2025. We need to carry those through so we maintain what Trump implemented when he took office, the lowest tax increase in American history. And people don't realize that.
Right.
Pay another $2,000 to $3,000 more a year in income tax on top of what's already happened to the economy with inflation and so on and so forth. People are struggling now. Ask them to pay another $2,000 more a year. Families can't do it. Right. We need somebody that's going to rein in cost of our government. I love what Trump's going to do with Elon Musk. He's going to go in and look at all these bureaucracies and start slashing money out of them. Get out of debt, reduce those costs. We've got way too much bureaucratic control in this country that weren't voted in. These policies and principles weren't voted in under a democratic republic. Just bureaucrats making laws, rules, and regulations, and hidden taxes that you're not even aware of. So there's a lot going on. It's complicated. It's not simple, but the bottom line is it's simple. How do you elevate the profits? So who you vote for is going to determine your profits in life, the profits in your business. And I encourage you to take it seriously. We're at a crossroads, in my opinion, Mark.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that I commend the younger folks out there, the Gen Z, which my son is part of. They are pretty active in the political infrastructure. So that's impressive, because at 27, I wasn't. Yeah, Robert, it's definitely under attack. This is why much of my time outside of what I'm working on income-wise is spent on X. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, there's this is why, that is why vote. Yeah. And, I'm just saying that I think that's neat, because when I was in my 20s, I don't know how you were, Tom, but I really wasn't thinking political parties and all that fun stuff. I mean, I was aware, but there are some people that are very passionate about it. The one thing I will say is this, and I agree with what you're saying, but when it's over, it's over. I hope that we can all accept the result and move on, regardless if it's here or here. It is what it is. So I'm going to kiddingly say this, regardless if this color wins, right? Or this color wins, it doesn't matter, because a lot of things Tom's talking about, you're still responsible for you, being the fact that you're a citizen, and you got to be responsible for you. Nobody can do everything for you. I know you've talked about this time and time again, Tom, like there are different things that you can, how to better yourself, whether it's mindset, financially, people you're hanging around with. So you just got to continue that process.
Yeah. I want to thank Lou Kavioski for jumping on and giving a thumbs up here. Lou runs the 5 Writers here in our community. He's
cool.
The one that sponsors our constitutional program. So thanks, Lou, for jumping on, giving us thumbs up. He's a former alderman, ran for mayor here in our city, so he's well politically connected. I respect his political views, and I've learned a lot from him personally. So it's who you hang out with as well that determines your success in life as well. So how you view the world, how you view politics. There's people like Lou that are great influencers. So keep up the great work, Lou. Thanks for being here tonight. So, Mark, what else you got to say about tomorrow's election?
Well, I know how it'll be here in the city, Metro Atlanta. I like you. It was the 16th of October I voted, so I got that taken care of, and I was so glad I did. I know the lines will be long. Teachers will not be teaching. Some of our schools will be used as voting precincts. I just think you go out there and do your thing, you vote, and, don't make a big deal about it. People are going to say things about your candidate, regardless of what side of the fence you're on, and just go do your thing. Don't take it so personal. And remember, people have a right, like Tom mentioned, one of them, and I'm very passionate about it. People have a right to express the First Amendment, which we're doing here right now. It's part of it. So, whether you're going to vote, like he said, for Trump or whether you're going to vote for Harris, who cares? Do what you got to do. But be an informed citizen when you go to the polls.
Exactly. For those Wisconsinites that may be catching this before the election, make sure you turn your ballot over. There's a change in Wisconsin's constitution clarifying some language. Only U.S. citizens can vote. versus citizen. So it's a clarification of who has a right to vote in this country. You're either a natural born citizen or you've come into the country legally, you've earned the right to become a citizen, to exercise that freedom. So we're making sure that, because we've had an issue in this country over the last 4 years and more of people that haven't earned the right to come into this country legally and are going to start voting. So what I want to make sure that people in Wisconsin understand, it's on the backside of your ballot. You got a short ballot, but on the backside is the change in the constitutional language in Wisconsin. So if you're Wisconsinite, make sure you flip your voter over. Vote yes. Only U.S. citizens are allowed to vote, not just citizens. Because we got people that are residents and they call themselves citizens, and they're just residents. They live here. They're not a U.S. legal citizen. And we've got to make sure we're clear in our language and our Constitution. There's no ambiguity, so there can't be any fraud or any manipulation of circumstances that we're involved with today. I believe part of what's going on the border is a political maneuver to gain new supporters and voters in the future. That's my opinion. They've almost come out and said that themselves, not in those same words, but it's very important that we have stronger immigration policies, laws, and if you're not here legally, goodbye is the way I look at it.
Man, Tom's getting to the point.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's good stuff. No, it is. You're right. You're absolutely correct. I think that not everybody can vote, and that's the cool thing about being a citizen. You just mentioned it, and that's very important. Because some people, I swear, they just go in there and it's either tic-tac-toe, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and they're off to the races. And I don't know. You ask me, are we better off? Well, we've got to get better. I feel like we've already digressed, so there's only one way to go, and that's up. And so that's where I'm coming from. I'm not going to tell you. You should probably tell them I talk. Well, Mark, I know who you're voting for, but the bottom line is I'm not going to broadcast it. I'm just looking at facts and figures, finances, what's going to be best for me. I know that sounds kind of selfish, but also what's going to be best for the country. I hear people scraping and clawing about job opportunities, this, thus, and so. So who do you really think's going to create these? I mean, like jobs, that's one thing, but professions, who's going to enable you to, have a career and a profession? I think that's the way I look at it, because a job could be anywhere from somebody being a parking lot attendant, and I'm not knocking that, but people want more. They want to do better and they want to get better. So, and I'm not knocking McDonald's. They're paying better. But I'm just saying people want careers, and some of them want to be able to start their own businesses, like Tom's a big advocate about. But if it's a brick and mortar institution or even their own thing, it's not as easy as it looks. And there's things you got to be able to do. And I'm sure if you ask Tom right now, is it easier now, or was it easier when he started to start his own business? And if you don't believe me, all you got to do is look at
the rules and regulations.
Home Depot. Check them out when they started out, and that was a big opportunity here in this state.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, I was in the financial services arena for years and under regulated industry, insurance and securities and real estate, mortgage licensing and all that type of thing. Is one of the reasons I got out of the business was the amount of regulations that took me away from being able to do what I did in my business. Spent more time on reports and stuff to the government than going out and helping families and individuals. So that was part of that. Is going into business easy? Absolutely not. But it gives you more opportunities. And then you have government influence on that with regulations, taxations, and all that determines how much you can grow, if you can grow at all. So Trump's going to really turn this thing around, in my opinion, and with Elon Musk, and start removing a lot of regulations that are holding individuals, corporations back. And one side says, pay your fair share, that Trump is going to just give tax cut to the billionaires and mega millionaires. Well, keep in mind, over 50% of the American people don't pay any federal income tax. 50%. And then the 20% that pay income tax are paying 80% of all the federal income taxes in this country. So who really needs a break? I believe everybody has a responsibility to support this great Constitution, support our government, the Constitution we have. And I believe the best way to do it takes money to support a military to protect our sovereignty, our national interest. We need government in certain other areas, but not controlling everything in our life, but some sort of regulatory on how people conduct themselves in our society and business, those type of things. There's got to be some sort of regulations. So what I'm really getting at is who you vote for is going to determine the outcome you're going to get in the future. And I've experienced as a business person, being in the insurance and investment industry, the amount of regulatory requirements that were put on me as a business person in that industry. It was a headache. It wasn't fun. It took out the steam, the excitement, enthusiasm. What I really wanted to do is help and serve people and help people better understand that. So keep in mind, when you hear that rhetoric that the wealthy got to pay more, they're already paying, they're covering 80% of all the cost of this government. 80%. We got how many $1 trillion in debt? 43 trillion.
Yeah.
That's why we got inflation. Putting a lot of money in the marketplace that shouldn't have been out there to create the inflation era that we have. We got to cut that spending out, cut it out, get rid of the fat, bring down the cost of operating businesses in this country. Relooking at taxes in a different way is, in my opinion, I believe in the flat tax, that everybody has a responsibility. If you make $1, you get taxed a certain percentage always. Everybody pays the same flat rate, no matter whether you make $1 or 10 million. I believe that's equality, in my opinion. And some people are getting off, some people aren't. I utilize the tax laws to their maximum and have minimized my income tax responsibilities over the years. It probably pissed people off if I told people what I really have been paying in income taxes. I'm not saying anything here that could be picked up and construed something, but it would shock you the amount of money I have not paid because I've legally utilized the system to reduce my tax liabilities.
Hello, IRS. His name's Tom Gant. No, I'm kidding.
They're probably hearing that anyway. But I've done everything legally. I've done everything by the book. I push it to the limit, but I don't go over it. I stay within it in that. So, and that's because I've had good advice and good advisors and people that are competent to stand up for my legal rights as a taxpayer.
Right. I think you brought up something really important there, like, your future, and we've had him on as well. And I'm going to plug this book again. If you haven't gotten it or ordered it, Dan Altmeyer. And the reason I bring this up, that this is a date with destiny. We're all going to come here and get here. Okay. My dad had a saying that we all get our chance in the barrel, so to speak. We're all going to get older. We're all going to need some assistance. So if anything, what Tom's talking about, get Dan's book and it'll give you a different perspective on life and what's important. And so we're talking about Mark, what the hell's that got to do with the election? Well, it'll little late now, but it opens up your eyes as to, who's best, where am I best vested? What should I be looking at in a candidate, and why, and who's going to help me, age gracefully and plan thoughtfully, who's going to put me in that position. And yeah, maybe that's selfish, but you just can't rely on these institutions to do it for you all by themselves. You got to have some sort of plan.
Yeah, I believe if you plan for it, you determine the outcome and how your money's being spent for how you're going to live your final days. What's that quality of care going to look like? That type of, I don't want to have a government come in and say, this is what you're going to get, and this is how you're going to have to live the last 5 years of your life.
Right.
I want control of that. So you got to plan today. That's why I did a talk a week ago or 2 weeks ago, this last Saturday, to a real estate, what do they call it? Property Inspection Association of Wisconsin, and talked about mindset before behavior before numbers, a little bit about winning financially is about money thinking versus the how-tos. And I said, where do we start? You start with the end in mind and you work backwards. People spend more time planning their vacation than they do their entire life financially. So there's a consequence of not planning. There's a consequence of or voting or not voting. There's a consequence who you vote for. So you have a responsibility. If something goes upside down in your life, you have to look at your thoughts, your behaviors, and your actions before you point fingers. Because as citizens, we have a significant amount of power. We are the most powerful office in the country, the citizen. We're sovereign. We have a constitution that's protecting us and telling the government how they're going to operate, not telling the government telling us how to operate. And I think that's the difference of us over any other country in the world, is that we have a constitution that the people dictate to the government how to operate. But we've lost that through bureaucracy, the elitism and those type of things, people being placed in non-elective, making decisions and rules and regulations and costs and taxes that we didn't vote for.
Right.
So.
And on a lighter note, Eric, I'm with you. I want to be a member of the pizza party. I mean, that sounds like a cool party. That could be a third party we could initiate here.
Yeah, the pizza party. I like that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So what are we doing with people that want pepperoni versus vegetarian? We got two conflicting pizza menus there.
I know.
We're going to have a big menu of pizzas to satisfy everybody. That's what we live in here in this country, is a big pizza party.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody's going to like different types of pizza, but we all like pizza, right? To one degree or another.
Absolutely. So any predictions here, since we know who Tom's going to vote for? Let me ask you this question. You're a Wisconsinite, land of the cheese.
We're a swing state. We're
as Rush Limbaugh used to say, love the stuff, land of the cheese. So how's it going to pan out in your state?
It's going to be very tight. I believe Mr. Trump is going to pull it out. It's leaning that direction. The polls, it's showing neck and neck, 1 or 2 point lead, but he's outperformed all the polls in the past, and with the amount of early voters that have registered, we've already gained 1 million more early voters than what the Democrats have done. Right. So I think we're in a good position to secure Wisconsin in the Electoral College for the selection of our president. And I believe totally in the Electoral College. And you really understand how it's formed and what it's doing.
Right.
How would you like California dictating how you live there in Georgia?
That'd be rough. that would be kind of rough here. I don't think that would work too well.
It's not working well in California, so I don't want their problem.
We're going to do something about that Second Amendment thing with you guys. We're going to draw a line through it with your state. No, that wouldn't work too well. And since I teased you about Wisconsin, now we have the great state of Georgia here, where I'm living right now. And I used to live in Pennsylvania. That's another one. It'll be interesting to see those three right there come to my mind, what's going to take place. I like you said, early voting wise, I know it goes to the big Don there because people are getting out there, and
it's halftime. We're a lead. So we got to keep the mindset correct. Encourage those that haven't voted to get out and vote. And if you haven't voted, get out there and do it. Get out
And,
there and
and
do it.
while you're doing that, call up Eric Bam and get a pizza, and have a pizza party while you're standing in line tomorrow. That'd be cool. You know what? I've never seen that done, but that would be awesome. You're standing in line and you get it to go, and they deliver it to you. That'd be wild. While people are, yeah, that would be kind of cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even deliver it inside the precinct to the people that are sitting behind there, that are doing that task. Although they do get paid, some of them. They don't do it just for free, but there are some volunteers. That would be kind of neat. That'd be a neat gesture.
Yeah. You'd probably be accused of swaying an election. So election interference.
Hey, pizza? What's it? Really? Yeah, that'd be different though. You probably can't do that. I would think so. There's probably something written that you can't bring food, or I get it. But if you're outside on the public sidewalk, what are you going to do? And you're standing in line, got to do something. Yeah, somebody could make I've never thought of that, Tom. That would be a quick hitter for someone that's entrepreneurial minded or looking for a fast buck, to have like a coffee stand, and have danishes or bagels and come wheeling up and handed it out to people. That'd be different. Have you ever seen that done?
No.
But that'd be kind of cool, don't you think? Of course, they'd probably, depending on who's running stuff, they'd probably get upset because they're not getting a cut of it.
Yeah, freedom of speech. Hey, you I don't know if you're a sports guy.
Yes.
Did you hear about the controversy? They didn't let a fan in because he had a Trump hat.
Well, that's wrong. And by the way, I can put this on here. This says "Make insulation great again." I got this at the MetalCon show, but it's actually a Thermogard by Dutch Tech Inc. And I thought it was so funny, but that's a great point. Yeah, I have seen people get chastised and ridiculed for wearing that color, not just at a sporting event, just out in public, which I think is totally asinine. I'm going to step out there because that person is exemplifying their First Amendment. They're not being political, maybe in the sense they are, but they're allowed to pontificate their choice, their finer points as to why they're wearing that hat. But you don't have a right to go up to them and rip it off their head and and denounce them like they're Satan himself. That's wrong. And that's what I was talking about. When it's over, it's over.
Yeah.
There's no need to be hostile and, go on the warpath and we're going to shut the country down. We want to recount. We want this. And that's on both sides of the fence. It is what it is.
It's going to be ugly no matter who wins the election. My opinion.
Let's just roll on with it and not take things so doggone personal, because there'll be many more elections after we're gone, hopefully, from the face of this. Tom.
That's a position of conversation of what type of elections.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the other thing I was going to mention. We don't know what they'll be like. So yeah, it will be quite interesting.
Yeah. Well, my friend, I appreciate that. I'm so grateful that we had this opportunity to just chit chat and express our feelings, our thoughts, and our beliefs about what's going on tomorrow. If you don't exercise your First Amendment right, and that's, I believe, the number one is vote. That's the biggest voice you have. Why do they spend billions of dollars to get you to go to the poll and vote to their point of view? They know how powerful your voice is, and they're willing to spend money to get it.
Man, have they spent money, Tom, haven't they?
Oh, you betcha.
Both sides of the fence have spent money. Yeah. It's amazing how Hollywood gets involved in this too. So if you don't think it's important, guess again.
Yeah, we're in a cultural. This is politics say isn't cultural. It is cultural. What decisions we make today is going to affect all aspects of our life, our religion, our faith, our economics, our business, everything, because some of the, this is cultural. You got one side that says, we believe that there's 360 different genders. That's a cultural choice. When in reality, in biology, there's only one, two genders, male and female. And boys playing in girls' sports, that's a cultural infringement.
Right.
Those are things that are at stake. People don't realize, and giving, without parental consent, giving kids hormone treatments to change sex and all that stuff. Those are cultural issues. Those are at stake in your own life and your own family, that you got government and institutions taking your parental controls away from you. I can get off on a big tangent on that.
I can tell.
And what they teach in schools and all that. Yeah.
It's good. It's good stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty simple.
So it's cultural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, you understand that,
my friend. Just want to do.
I think you're breaking up.
Cynthia Mannion was on. Glad to see you, Cynthia.
Oh, all right.
Lou was on. Fred Brown. I wonder if that was my former football coach in high school.
Yeah. No, it's all good. It's all good. So
I want to thank Robert
Tom,
and for participating. And
I know right now they're probably freaking out saying, why are these people talking about this? They have no idea what they're talking about. And so much for the polls. So we'll find out from all these pontifications, prognosticators to the nth degree that think they got all the answers. And, we'll find out for sure,
Well, 24 hours from now at this particular time, polls will be shutting down on the East Coast, 25 hours here in Central Time. So the next 25 to 28 hours, polls will be closed and we'll start getting results. So we'll
Absolutely.
know, hopefully, by Wednesday morning.
Good deal.
But I have a feeling there's going to be something held back. That's my opinion.
Oh, you think it'll take longer than?
Sure. I mean, Arizona's already saying they're going to take it's going to take them 2 weeks to count the votes.
Yeah.
They got a 2-page ballot, front and back, 2 pages. And they just calculated that they're already backed up trying to count the early votes.
Wow.
So we're going to have some delays on the outcome. There'll probably be some trends they can put a rubber stamp on, but final vote probably won't be known for a couple of weeks, in my opinion, what I'm hearing. So
crazy
that's
stuff.
Sad.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. And then we wonder why people are concerned about voter integrity.
Yeah.
Be able to get those results out. You vote one day, the results that same day or that night, whatever the case may be. So
right.
Needs a major reform there.
And that's why,
my friend, I appreciate it. I did my my little rant tonight, and
oh, you were good. You were good. So that's why I wore this hat around here, and it's just so funny when they saw it. Hey man, I'm like, no, read the hat. Make insulation great again, right? So I really wish I would have gotten Margie's hat. She had a hat that said, "Make Margie's great again." And then on the inside visor, bakers, what it was, haters hate, but bakers bake. And that's one of the things that Margie's was known for in Wichita Falls. If you ever go there, I'd highly recommend it. It's a great place to eat at. It was so good that a week after I left, my son called me up and Ted Cruz himself was there with his entourage.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, it can't be that bad. It's been in existence for 55 years.
Wow.
So, yeah, neat stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you, Tom, for sharing everything.
We have a guest next week. Do we have any announcements we want to make?
I don't, but I'll probably be able to tell you that within the next day or two. And if I do, I'll put it out there. Hey, this is who's going to be joining us, and this is what we're going to talk about.
Cool.
You know?
I want to put this out there. You know, my newest business venture is Q Up Fundraising, using Q Streaming as a vehicle, a service to be able to market it through a fundraising organization to raise money. To want to learn more about it, go to qupfundraising.com. My ask tonight is two things. Number one, go to the website. Think about any nonprofits that you're associated with, you have a passion to help, and make a reference and a referral to me. I'd be glad to help them out, explain the program to them. The second thing is part of my business strategy is that I'm taking 50% of my profits, putting it into a separate account, and every quarter paying out equally to these four organizations, the profits. T to T, Tunnels to Towers. These are two made, the first two are two big national fundraising causes I have a passion to support. T to T, Tunnels to Towers organization. The other, St. Jude. Those are two big nationals. And then two local causes, SOFA, Saving Others for Archie's a friend of ours and our family here. She lost her son to fentanyl.
Oh, wow.
She's been involved in the community, bringing awareness to the addiction problem and the support systems necessary to help these individuals and families get through those traumas. So that's a personal local cause that they'll be sharing in the profits. And then, of course, a local service organization, Kiwanis Club, will be getting equal share of that as well. So if you just come on and subscribe, know that those dollars, portion of your subscription is going to support all four of those organizations to some extent. So that's all explained in my website as well. So please take a look at it, qupfundraising.com. All you need to do is have a conversation with a leader or somebody in a nonprofit, share with them what the economic opportunities are with this fundraising campaign, and take it from there. It can be very lucrative depending what their mission, their cause, their audience, that type of thing. It can be very significant opportunity. I'll just plant this seed. This is not hype. I was introduced to it through a business associate. He took advantage of taking advantage of the Q streaming business, letting people know about this streaming product and service. One of the people that signed on was a church. And because the founder of Q Streaming has a passion to help nonprofits, the church had 200 other churches that they brought on board using Q Streaming as a fundraising opportunity. Within 90 days, they were cash flowing $50,000 a month to support that cause of sex trafficking. So it has some very big upside potential, but hey, if an organization needs $200 to $300, $500 a month consistently, this is a great program to help the small nonprofit. I've created marketing support to help those organizations get their fundraising off the ground, be there to support them, because most small nonprofits don't have a marketing department, don't have a business acumen. So I've created the resources necessary for them to at least get their campaign off to the ground, so it can be profitable for them for the long term. So if they win, I win, and I'm going to be taking 50% of those profits as well and supporting those four causes that I want to support as well. So it's a win-win-win for everybody. So there's my commercial, Mark. Any questions?
No, sounds great. I am wearing a certain hat, so I'll put in a plug and I'll back out of here. Wounded Warriors.
There you go.
That's why I'm wearing this hat. Also,
yeah, Wounded Warriors and Tunnels to Tower are very similar in mission.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I debated which one I wanted to go with and supporting.
That's cool. There's a lot of them out there, but
yeah, a lot of causes, a lot of need out there. And I honestly believe this: nonprofit organizations do a better job of helping people than government. We can take a look at what recently happened with FEMA and what nonprofits have been able to do in overnight. Boom, get in. Private enterprises get in and boom, start fixing things. So that's another reason you should understand why to vote and who to vote for. Who's going to help in those areas of need,
Tom is going to become the evangelist of of a certain party here, man. laying down a foundation. So,
No.
but no, I'm kidding them about it. And so, thank you for the Q Up fundraising plug.
got
As
it.
always, appreciate it. Appreciate everybody for joining us this evening, because I know there's other things in your brain right now, and I'm sure tomorrow night there'll be a lot more things on your brain. I've got to do a baseball game, so that's going to be kind of weird, man. Election night, man. So that's different. I mean,
Should do a poll, figure if they're D or R, and then
I know.
make your game calls around hometown crowd.
Excuse me, who you going to vote for? No, you're out. Who's your mom and dad voting? Nah, you're out.
Unfortunately, the people that do operate that way, Mark.
I know. You're right. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah. No,
Well, everybody, we'll see everybody next week. We don't know what's going to be coming on stream. Maybe we'll continue this conversation and have a celebration or a crying party or something. Who knows?
It's all going to be good. It's all going to be good, everybody. Hey, a magnificent Monday, and thank you again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Get out and vote. Get out and vote.